Can you hear me? Testing, testing. All right, you guys can hear me now? Goodness. I don't even know what I did. All I did was unplug it and plug it back in. Oh, good times, good times. Happy Monday. All right, let's look at what we got going on in the charts here. So I have a volume profile up from last night's session. That's what this is, starting from the Sunday open. And we are kind of establishing this base here, which is obvious because we've been chopping around here for a couple hours now. So we're sitting right at point of control, but overall pretty bearish, kind of a downtrend all night. So higher time frame, what I'm seeing, I know when I zoom out, all my lines kind of get a little bit crazy, so I'll turn everything off. But this level right here, if you turn on the visible range volume profile, this was a decent level right here, and you can see the support to the left. It bounced there, that was Friday's low, and it's still been holding it. So my thought is if we hold this level at 730-ish, then we could be getting a bounce here. It kind of looks like it's a little bit like flagging down. You can see that. I actually have that drawn on my lines. These trend lines right here kind of flagging. So it could, if it holds this level, possibly come back up to like Asia high or so. I'm not thinking it'll break out today. So I feel like that's a key level to hold. It kind of looks a little bit weak. So there's definitely more room for downside. But if it holds this previous day low level at like 23,730-ish, we could be seeing a bounce. And then if I zoom in, looking at some of the like point of control levels, like I was saying in Discord, if you guys are in there, this session VWAP and point of control from Friday and this high volume node are kind of in the same spot. So if we're going to continue a downtrend, this is a spot that I would possibly be looking for a reaction at. And then if we go a little bit higher, we have value area high and Asia high up here too. So like 839-ish. So the two spots I might be looking for a short if we're going to get a retracement, and then a pullback would be like 808-ish, 810-ish, one spot there, and then 840-ish right there. So we'll see how the market opens. Kind of been shopping around since 1:45 this morning, really, 1:30 this morning, Central Time. So we got market open in about 2 minutes. Let's see what we got. I did trade some of my other accounts last night and did pretty well. The top one futures one is the one that I posted in Discord about. I qualified for the consistency rule. So I'm at 20% or below 20%. I just need to trade one more day. So I'll probably just trade like one micro tomorrow just to log a trade and then request a payout. I've never done it with top one futures before, so I'll figure it out, see if I can do it on stream with you guys. That'd be cool. And then I traded my TradeDay account too, so I'm done in this one. 2 green accounts there. I did trade my Lucid Trading account and kind of had a little bit of a lapse in judgment. Took some losses, so I locked that account. It'll be red. But I took 2 longs earlier this morning, which was kind of dumb because we were obviously in a downtrend. But this one right here, I was kind of counting on a bounce off of that value area low since we had a good bounce there and a retracement. Looking at the 5-minute time frame, obviously it was not bouncing, so that was just a dumb trade. I think I was more zoomed into like the 2-minute time frame. So that was my bad. And then this one, I'm okay with this loss. It was a break above the anchored VWAP. So I feel like that was an okay loss. I was targeting VWAP. But took 2 losses in my Lucid account this morning. All right, markets open. Let me move these circles out of the way. Starting off with a little bit of a bounce so far. Here we go, coming up to VWAP and point of control, that first area of interest I was kind of mentioning. Definitely a good spot for a pullback. I don't want to be entering shorts off of that big old high volume candle though, and 1 minute into the open. But that is one area that I'm looking at. Let's see how this thing continues. K George, I trade on Project X. That's actually my preference. I do have some Tradeify accounts, so I trade on TradeDay for those ones. But if my prop firm has Project X, that's my preference. I really like it a lot. But I chart on TradingView. So I'll chart here. I think just because I'm used to it and Project X doesn't have some of the indicators that I use. So I'll chart here and then I'll flip over to my prop firm to actually take the trade. That was your next question? Well, there you go. Yeah, that was a nice reduction off of VWAP, but definitely not my trade. The timing of it being 2 minutes into the open, didn't want to do that. And then there was lots of volume coming in on that candle, so I don't want to short it, especially since it could still come up to this 840-ish region that I marked off earlier, which looks like it might. I don't know. Pretty strong open so far. Moving on up. That's a nice big 5-minute candle. Looking back, like next to all this chop right here, this is a huge candle. Man, there's always a big difference with the volume once the New York session opens. It just makes you realize how there is nothing in the Asia and the London sessions. So much more volatility. breaking through VWAP and point and control. Getting up to the London high. We have some resistance here, and then we're kind of at the top of a high volume node that I have marked off. But there are no signs of pulling back yet. This is looking strong. Good morning, B Frosty. How's it going? We might be getting our first sign of a pullback here. Although it did close well above VWAP. And that was a strong opening candle. I'm not super interested in looking for longs yet. This point of control and VWAP area is definitely one spot where if it reclaims that, I'd be considering it. But we still have this high of the day, the Asia high and value area high at 840-ish. So I think if it reclaims that, spend some time above there and shows us that it's not going to fake out, then we could possibly, sorry, the Asia high is up at 880. If it kind of reclaims this area, possibly. But gotta be patient today. We don't have any news or anything today, and a lot of no news Mondays can be choppy and not really have a whole lot of continuation. So gonna be an interesting day to trade. No news Monday, plus some things on the schedule with Trump meeting different international leaders and stuff. So definitely lots of opportunities for Trump to be tweeting and moving the markets, you guys. So be careful of that. Good morning, Shez. All right, now that we're a couple minutes in, go ahead and mark off our VWAPs, start marking off our range. So this light blue is the New York anchored VWAP. There's lots of stuff going on in this area. Like I said, we have this high volume node, point of control from Friday, the session VWAP. Interesting spot here. I'm curious to see if it reclaims this area and we have more upside, or if that's kind of the high and we're going to reject from there. Tell me what you guys are thinking. Did we have that consolidation from the London session around 740s to 750s? Was that establishing our base for the day and that was the bottom? We're going higher? Or is the downtrend going to continue? What do you guys think? So far, we came up to London high pretty cleanly and got a rejection right there. So I'll go ahead and delete that. And then so far, this is our 15-minute high, but that could change. We still got 6 minutes. Okay, George, thinking it's a down day. Yeah. So far, I'm leaning towards that until proven otherwise. this whole move with the opens so far could just be a bounce before pulling back more. That's why I'm not quick to enter a long right now. We have quite a bit of resistance overhead. This value area high, like I said, is the next area where we might be getting a pullback. And then our overnight high at 881, which is also the top of that channel that I kind of drew. I don't really take trades off of trend lines, but just to show you like the higher time frame, kind of making this little channel. So it's interesting that the Asia high level is right near the top of that channel. So if we do continue this bounce up, that could be the spot where we find our final rejection. If it breaks above that, then I'm definitely wrong and longs were the play. We shall see. We also do have kind of three obvious high volume nodes from the overnight session. We're sitting right at one of them. That might be kind of why we're chopping around this level, because if it's going to continue higher, it's fighting through this right here. The value area high from the overnight session is right at our 15-minute opening range high at 818 so far. It's always interesting to me when those levels just line up super nicely. Like I said, there's so much going on in this area. Point of control, VWAP, value area high from the overnight session. And that is where we're pulling back. Gotta love it when a level just plays out, right? All right, we got about 3 minutes until this 15-minute range is set. I haven't really grabbed any like big clear areas of liquidity yet. There was that decent spot where we're at right now, but I didn't want to chance it. All right, chat, tell me what you thinking. Did anyone take this short? There was some decent confluence for taking a short there, for sure. Got a good rejection right there. Shez, of course. No, I didn't take it, but I like it. I know, that's kind of how I feel. I was watching it. That was one of the spots I put my little red dot. But I'm also trying to be patient, wait for the right entry. Everyone's waiting for the 15 minutes to be set. I almost feel like everyone's standing at the starting line. Like we have 7 seconds until we're allowed to take a trade. Just kidding. All right. We held that 15-minute range low. Yeah, Sasmit, I agree. If you zoom out to like the 30-minute, even coming up here to like 23,840-ish, that whole range between Friday's value area low and value area high, it's been super choppy. It broke out above it a little bit last night, but that was it. Other than that, it's been stuck in the range. That's kind of why I'm like, I don't want to trade this. That could have been a good spot for a short, but it could also come up higher before rejecting. Trying to wait for a high probability setup. Okay, George, too many burn fingers. Yep. I guess after you touch the stove too many times, you learn to not touch it anymore, right? All right, guys, while we're patiently waiting for one of these setups, if you haven't already, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. So we're making our way back up to the top of the 15-minute range. It is set at this point. I personally, if it does break out to the upside, I'm not going to take a long. It could be a nice little scalp if you're a scalper, but there's definitely an area of resistance right overhead at 840. So it could be one of those possible like fake outs and then return back to the range. If you take the trade right off the top of the range, yeah, I mean, that's 21 points. For me, I don't love tiny scalps like that. So that's kind of why I'm just thinking ahead of like what the possible scenarios are. I wouldn't take a long on that breakout trade. So I'll just waiting to see if it proves to us that it's actually going to be going up and we need to be taking, or wait for the right spot to take a pullback and go short. G-Man's going long. Let's go. If you got in long here, that's not bad. You're crossing the New York anchored VWAP. Good trade, especially if you're targeting this value area high level. Decent risk to reward on that, because you could put your stop loss down at the range low, really. It's a little over 1-to-1. If you got in around here-ish. Yeah, not bad. overall choppy open. No news Monday coming at you hot. If you weren't here when I was talking about it earlier, we don't have any official like news releases, but there's a lot of meetings with Trump and some international leaders today. European leaders are arriving at the White House at 12 o'clock Eastern. And they're having like a photo session and meet and greet kind of thing. So, you know, with all this stuff going on with like war and tariffs and all that, if we have low volume in the market and then Trump says something or announces something, that could just destroy accounts. Crazy moves in either direction. So today might be a day to size down a little bit and just be careful. All right, coming back down to the bottom of the range. Breaking out to the downside. Woo, that's a good move. Look at that. So glad that I didn't flip my bias to longs. All right, so if we are going to get a bounce, there's lots going on right here. Previous week's value area low, London low, previous day low. There's definitely room for this to continue down if this is going to be a down day, but a lot of times there'll be a quick little bounce off of that liquidity grab. So we'll see what we get. Yeah, opening range is small. Definitely in for a choppy day. So far, at least it looks like. That's what it's looking like. They're humans like us, but they're humans that are going to be 2 hours late. I hope none of you guys are humans that are 2 hours late. Oh my goodness. That's pretty terrible if you're 2 hours late. You might not have a job and you might not have friends if you're 2 hours late to stuff. Oh man, you guys. Another one of those days where it's kind of just bouncing at weird levels, isn't quite coming all the way down, no continuation. Good times. Did any of you guys do anything fun this weekend? What'd you guys do? I took my kids to the skating rink on Friday. 2 of the 3 had never been before. My older son has been for a birthday party one time, but the other 2 haven't. My daughter has skates, so she skates in our driveway all the time, and she's actually pretty good. But she had never been to a skating rink, so she was so excited. It was like best day ever for her. And my boys had fun too. But I think it was you guys in the chat. I was talking to you about the K-pop Demon Hunters movie and how the songs are pretty catchy. So at the skating rink, they played a couple of the K-pop Demon Hunters songs, and she was so excited. It was cute. So we had a lot of fun doing that Friday, and then Saturday we met some friends at the beach. Trying to do a couple more fun things before summer's over, summer break. My kids start school tomorrow, so today's their last hurrah. Spending the day in their pajamas watching TV right now. G-Man, packed your bags. That's right, you're going to Hawaii for like 2 weeks, right? That's definitely the kind of trip that you have to like spend some time packing for, not like a weekend trip where you just throw in a couple pairs of clothes and a toothbrush and you're good to go. You got to plan for that trip. Okay, 7 days, but still. Your daughter's been singing the soda pop song, yeah. They're catchy songs. I don't mind them. It makes it nice though, because they do have some shows that are like annoying. But the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack is good, and then the Sing movie soundtracks, those are good. I like those ones. K George, are you a teacher or do you work at a school? Yeah, Shez, I said skating rink, and you're talking about an ice skating rink. No, I'm in Houston. Ice skating rinks would be way too expensive to keep cold here. We went to like a roller skating rink. Oh yeah, Moana's good. Some of the songs on Moana are really good. I don't like the one that the crab sings. That one's pretty annoying. The crab one? Be Frosty, is that what you're talking about? You like that song? Every time that song comes on, I skip it. Okay. Okay, George, your wife is a principal. So yeah, you've been busy helping set up for school. I love that I can talk to you guys about all these like Disney soundtrack songs and you're like on my level. I must have an audience of people that have young kids or grandkids. I know some of you guys have grandkids too. But those are the type of movies and shows that I watch right now. I couldn't tell you anything about Netflix for like adult shows. I don't really enjoy watching TV that much. by the time it's like my turn to watch TV, I'd rather go to sleep or read a book or something. So I don't really watch much. My husband likes to watch football when it's in season, and we'll watch the Houston Astros. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but the Astros are pretty good. So we'll watch them every once in a while. But yeah, don't know much about adult TV shows. I could tell you all about the kids' TV shows though. All right. So it did come down to that London low and bounced a little bit. Not a whole lot of volume behind it though, so that's why I wasn't quick to enter long. Also, we still have previous day low, like right below it. And if you notice, the London low came down here. Previous day low is where? Back here. So previous day low is here, and London low never quite grabbed it. So we've come really close a couple times. I kind of get the feeling that if we are going to get a bounce, we're going to come grab this at 7:33. So I don't want to enter early. We could also just be continuing down too. So I want to make sure it's a convincing bounce if we are going to take a long off of it. We're having a debate about how to spell the word principal. I didn't realize they were spelled differently in different countries. Though that word was spelled differently. That's weird. There is not much going on with price action today, guys. Still hasn't fully hit any areas of interest that I have. A nice clean grab of this liquidity and a good strong bounce with volume. I would enter a long in this region, but it doesn't look like it's doing that so far. We are coming back up to the 15-minute opening range low, so this is a possible spot where we could reject. That is a possibility. But it could also come up higher to some of these VWAP levels too. Now we're getting that bounce. We're getting some volume behind this one too. Breaking through that New York anchored VWAP. but it's also coming up to the session view out. So we do have some resistance overhead. We still have about 30 minutes until the initial balance is set too. So we got a long way to wait until then. Hopefully something good sets up. Some clear. Sasmit says, I've observed that if in the first hour and a half or 2 hours of the open is choppy, then price is unidirectional and fast from 11:30 to 12. Yeah, I haven't like back tested it, but I have noticed a little bit of a pattern. At least over the last 3 weeks or so. Especially when we had those opens where it was like within the first 10 minutes, if you didn't catch the move, then it just chopped the rest of the day. And then there was like one more good move around the lunch hour. So yeah, I haven't confirmed like what the timing was, but yeah, I can say that I've seen some of a pattern like that. And you've even made comments about it too. I think about 2 weeks ago you commented about how it's just testing everyone's patience right now, and then it's about to start moving. Like it's putting everyone to sleep right now and it will start moving in 2 hours. Yeah, I've heard you say stuff like that. Could be what it's doing. Yeah, volume, it has already kind of started to slow down a little bit. I have found some decent trades in the afternoon. If I'm done in the morning, then I don't really look at the charts much in the afternoon, but I can use the session volume profile from today, like from the developing profile today, and then use yesterday's, like Friday's volume profile. And if there's confluence there, I've taken some really good trade setups that way. I just have to remind myself to be patient and wait for that. Because sometimes I'll like try to force a trade in the morning because I feel like I need to find something. And then if I just had waited, like for example, a couple days ago, maybe not a couple days ago, sometime last week, I had 2 losses in one account because I was kind of forcing them. So I locked my account so I didn't overtrade. And then 3 hours later, there were some beautiful setups. So just need to remind myself to be patient and wait for the right setups. G-Man short now. Yeah, that was a nice clean rejection off of VWAP. Still holding above the 15-minute opening range low though. And this point of control from overnight, we're right there. So there's lots of volume supporting where we're at right now. Just kind of in a chop, like no trade zone for me. There's definitely some confluence to take a short, but there's lots of support where we're at too. I'd rather wait for it to hit one of my key levels and like have some volume behind it, get a little bit of momentum with it. All right, let's see how our current session volume profile is setting up. Yep, there's lots of resistance overhead if you look at that. We're below VWAP, both VWAPs, and below the point of control. But again, no continuation in either direction. It doesn't look like it wants to go down or up. Nick, any trades so far? Nope, not yet. I'm not loving anything that I see so far. Still wanting to hold that level. Taking a look at the risk to reward, because shorts do make more sense. And if we targeted previous day low, it's a little over a 2-to-1. Not bad. All right, I entered short at 766.25. So a little bit lower than what I had charted up there. Probably won't let it bounce all the way up there. I'll put my stop loss a little bit lower. And then 732-ish would be my target. We just need to get some follow through. It makes sense to short right here, according to my strategy at least. Below all the VWAPs, below point of control. The only thing that's holding us right now is we're at the current session's value area low, so possible spot for a bounce. And right at yesterday's or Friday's value area low. So that could be holding us up a little bit. Stop loss is at 788. I'm keeping it a little bit tighter than normal. A lot of times I'll put it up above like the previous wick high. The reason I'm not though is just because, like I said, we're kind of in the middle of an area and I don't want to let it bounce too high because I could see it possibly continuing the other direction too. So taking these on my TradeDay accounts. By the way, you guys, if you didn't see the sale that I posted in Discord, TradeDay straight to funded accounts, they're 25K and they're 50K straight to funded. They're basically 50% off right now. The way they made the flyer is weird. They like slashed the price and then discounted at 30%. But if you look at their full price versus the price that it's going for, it's about 50% off. This is the cheapest price I've ever seen. They're having their 1-year anniversary sale right now. It's breaking back above that VWAP. I'm not loving that it's holding this level here at like 766. There's a lot there. 15-minute low, value area low from today and from Friday. So we got to break and hold below that for me to feel a little bit more comfortable about this. Still rejecting that point of control level. But no continuation. Come on. That point of control keeps inching its way up. That's not a great sign. Kind of means that the agreed upon fair value for the day is moving up. So we could be getting a bounce. Go somewhere. Up or down. Come on. Yeah, I'm still in it. My stop loss is at 788. Still in it. I don't love it though. It's looking more and more like it's going to bounce to the upside. It's really holding that 15-minute opening range low level. Yep, that stopped me out. Moving on up now. Pretty decent bounce there. Now we're getting some momentum behind that. So we have about 8 minutes until the initial balance is set. We are coming up towards the 15-minute opening range high, which could potentially end up being the 60-minute initial balance high. So we can see what kind of reaction we get up there to possibly take a short off of there, or if this thing continues the move up, we could take a breakout trend continuation trade. But right now it's kind of just chopping around in the middle. No super clear direction. Yeah, not anticipating a breakout, that's for sure. Just kind of saying that we're coming up to the top of the range. So this would be a decent area to watch for a reaction. If we reject, we can take a short from here. If we do break out and continue this trend, we still have this level at like 23,840-ish that could be a possible spot for a rejection. When you zoom out a little bit, that's an area where it's kind of been ranging within. And then the higher part of the range is obviously up here at Asia high at 880. Gonna stay patient. Looking at that hourly candle though, just zooming out, we still have 35 minutes left on this hourly candle. But that's a pretty strong candle right now. It'll be interesting to see how this closes in the next 30 minutes. Man, look at her go. Woo! That's a good move right there. If it's going to continue this kind of rangy day, definitely could reject here. These VWAP bands have been, for me, helpful in seeing when we're in a choppy day because it kind of gets stuck in this range. And we're at the top of the initial balance high, which is interesting confluence, huh? So let's see how we react here. I'm going to stay zoomed out, watching the 5-minute, just to kind of wait for confirmation on closes to see how the candles close. Good job calling it a day, B Frosty, if you're not feeling like you're mentally on top of your game. Good job. Have a good one. Interesting spot here. I know it's not officially the 60-minute high, but it's a decent spot for rejection. It's at the top of the VWAP bands, and the initial balance high is almost set, or the initial balance in general is almost set. So we'll see. Could come a little bit higher too before rejecting. There's a couple more levels ahead. So I'm going to be careful. Wait for some confirmation. So far, we're not getting a whole lot of selling volume. There we go. Let's see. Decent spot for a rejection. All right. I am short from 800.25. That's where I got in. There was good confluence for this level. The opening range high, top of the VWAP bands, point of control. Let's see if we can get back down to previous day low where I was originally targeting. Coming down to VWAP. Hopefully we don't bounce here. We're going to get down to 734, targeting that previous day low. I actually won't even need it to go all the way down there. I think I might hit my profit target before then. All right, far enough in profit that I'm definitely going to set my stop loss at least to break even and then start trailing out of this thing. We are below point of control again, below VWAP. We got a pretty good bounce at that 15-minute low. That was a big bounce. This should be the spot where if it's going to bounce and continue lower, we got to reject from here. VWAP, point of control, it's a good spot to go lower. It held that value area low though. That was a strong buy up. Come on. Are we going to get any sort of continuation on any of these moves? Jeez. Nope. It's going back up. What the heck, you guys? All right, Cheechmas, have a good one. So now that our initial balance is actually set, here is our initial balance low, right at previous day low. That's interesting. And then our initial balance high, right above the 15-minute opening range high. That range for the initial balance is 89 points. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. If this is going to continue lower, like I said, this is kind of the spot it's got to hold. Looks like it's wanting to bounce though. That was a big rejection, big move down. And again, kind of staying within these VWAP bands. So definitely a good sign that this is going to be a rangy, choppy day. So I might even take profit earlier and target like value area low or something like that. Because that's also in line with that VWAP band. So I do have one that I'm scaling out right at value area low, and then I'll see how the reaction is. If it bounces again, I'm just going to get out fully. And it's continuing to bounce. The worst type of days? Yeah. I feel you, G-Man. It makes it hard for me, like being a levels trader and waiting for like liquidity grabs. When it bounces at levels that are like not quite there and I'm trying to wait patiently for that level and then it never actually happens. And then if you chase it, there's no continuation in that direction. You end up getting stopped out. Like it's just a really hard day to trade. This isn't even a super clean range. So it's not like there's an obvious high and low where you can buy and sell. It's bouncing in weird spots. So at least I'm in a position where my stop loss is at break even and I'm going to be scaling out. So I'm okay with it and might not take any trades after this if it stops me out. Yeah, Sasma, 100% there. These days just turn out to be a waste of mental capital. I agree with you on that. That's why I just said, like, I just realized I've wasted the last, like, 2 hours staring at my computer screen. If this one stops me out, then I'm just going to go take my kids to the gym, go work out, go hang out at the library with them, go grocery shopping, like, do all this stuff that I had on as a plan today, just get it done earlier. Because this is not where it's at. I'll move my stop loss down a little bit just to lock in some of those profits at least. And then hopefully we get some movement. Still holding below that VWAP and point of control level. So I have some that I'm scaling out here at value area low. Ideally, I'd like for it to get down to initial balance low. Being a little bit greedy, I guess, hoping for my daily profit target. Yeah, Sasman, it's looking, at least looking like I'll get some partials. But like I said, if it doesn't, my stop loss is in profit. I'll be happy with that, finishing out like that today. Oh, Nick is talking about how gold is given a decent range. I haven't looked at gold. That was a pretty good drop right there if you were watching it earlier. This is an old level that I had marked off from like 2 or 3 days ago. Might be bouncing there. Cool. Bouncing at that value area low again, which is right at that VWAP standard deviation band. One M Nature, what's going on? I have no idea what's going on. I want to learn trading. I love it. Have you watched any like strategy videos? Have you learned about futures? Have you ever traded stocks or anything? Like, where are you at in terms of your experience with trading? Christopher, finished for today with a small loss. Good job calling it a day, honestly. I feel like that's one of the hardest skills to learn in trading is to walk away with a small red day. If you can do that, like seriously, you're ahead of most people. Because having a small red day, it's so hard to just accept that and be like, okay, I lost a couple $100, no big deal, I'll come back tomorrow. It's just a part of the game. When you're thinking rationally, yeah, you can be like, it's just like being a business owner, you have losses. But when you're in the thick of it and you're just staring at the computer screen, you think that you can outsmart the market and you're like, just one more, I can make it up on the next trade. You start to think stupid stuff. Not you, like I'm talking about myself, me. So if you can walk away with a small red and come back tomorrow, good job. God bliss forever. Yeah, I'm still in the trade. You guys can see it on the screen, right? Still in it. Still sitting through this chop. It's looking like it wants to continue lower. So I had one partial that I took at about 760-ish because that's where the value area low was and that's where it bounced earlier. So I took off one, but it's kind of starting to look weak. It might continue lower. So I'm just scaling out. I don't normally scale out this much. I usually wait for like a key level. But with how choppy it is, I just want to secure some sort of profits. Coming on down. And Christopher, too, if you're trading with Project X, then you can lock out your account. That's one of my favorite features and why I love Project X so much. Because when you're thinking rationally and you're like, all right, it's choppy, I don't have a good read on the market, I want to lock it, or I want to stop trading, you can lock it right then and not allow yourself to come back 2 hours later and be like, I think I'll take another trade, and then turn your small red day into a big red day. So setting up those like guardrails for me at least has been so helpful. Yeah, I agree, G-Man. I don't know if it's ever going to happen though. I'm not holding my breath for it, that's for sure. The last level would be down here at the initial balance low at about 735. Kind of looks like it's going there. And then from there, previous day low, which is, what was it, like 733, something like that? Yeah. Looks like that's where it's headed. So I left a couple. I still have 2 contracts left to see if it keeps dumping. That way I can be in the position. But I've taken most of the profit off. We do have previous day low, initial balance low, obviously a big spot there. But we're also at this high volume node. Man, it's continuing down. Okay. I'm glad I left a runner. I got one little baby contract left. K George, which account are you trading today? What firm do you prefer? So this is Tradeify. Honestly, so all of the ones that are on this screen for Tradeify, Top One, Lucid, and TradeDay, I trade with all of them, which I know is a lot, but they all have their own benefits. Tradeify and Lucid Trading are nearly identical. Like, Lucid is kind of a copycat of Tradeify, to be honest. They're just a newer version. I have not taken a payout yet from Lucid because I just started trading with them about a week ago. So honestly, can't tell you how fast their payouts or anything like that are. Their customer service is great, which is always a big plus in my opinion. All 4 of these, their customer service is great. It's not like Take Profit Trader or something where they never reply, or even Top Step where they never reply. So Tradeify and Lucid, I like them because of the fast payouts. They have good sales. Top One is about the same in terms of the rules. Like, you have the typical, if you get straight to funded, 20% consistency, all that. So those 3 are about the same. TradeDay is a 7-day eval, and then once you pass the eval, it is daily payouts with like no cap, no consistency. So that's my favorite in terms of rules, because then you don't have to worry about the consistency rules and all that stuff. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you want a cheap eval, then, I mean, honestly, all of them have a cheap option. If you want straight to funded though, TradeDay does not have straight to funded. TradeDay top one and Lucid would have those. So it's hard to say what my favorite is. TradeDay, I have taken payouts from them. Top one, I have not yet, but I've qualified and will be taking one tomorrow. Hopefully I can do it live on stream with you guys. And then TradeDay, I haven't taken a payout yet, but I will be soon. Cool. I might call it a day there, you guys. I'm pretty happy with being able to squeeze out $500 to $600 in each of these accounts on a gross choppy day. It does look like we're getting a failed auction. So if you guys are still looking for a trade, I would probably consider a long here, because that was a good liquidity grab. Previous day low, initial balance low. It grabbed that and bounced good. So I don't know how high it's going to bounce, but honestly, this is a really small range. So even if it goes back up to the initial balance high, that's not a huge trade. So hopefully some of you guys caught this long and you can scale out at 780-ish, because that's where VWAP and point of control are, and then maybe hold a runner up to initial balance high. That'd be a good trade. Might be a little bit late at this point. You'd be chasing it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, I have these 4 accounts that I was copy trading. These three are pretty similar. I don't know if you can see them at the bottom of the screen. My face might be in the way. You guys aren't able to see it. Let me pull it up higher. So these ones, nope, it's not letting me show you. But I had one account, I forgot to turn on my copy thing. And I had one account that I just entered the full multiplied position on one account, and I closed that out real quick. Oops. So good day for me. I'm green in 3 out of the 4 of my prop firms. The Lucid one, if you guys were on the stream earlier, I finished red in that one because I tried to take a couple longs this morning against the trend. Stupid in hindsight. I knew there were bad trades. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day, you guys. Tomorrow, I'll be a little bit late to hop on live. It'll be 10 o'clock Eastern time. Tomorrow's the first day of school with my kids, so we get to walk them in and walk them to their classroom and stuff. So I'll be starting a little bit late. Have a good one, you guys. Take care. See you in Discord. Join the Discord if you haven't already, and then like the stream on the way out, you guys. I'd appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.